Okay, so here we are inside Unity for the first time. It's quite a complex interface, so this first game is going to be specifically designed to only use the console. So if you don't see what I see, then go to the top right of Unity, and then click the drop down, which is the layout drop down, and just go to default so that it ends up looking like this. And then I want you to find the console. Now there are a few ways to find the console. One is you could go to the window drop down and then look for console, which is at the very bottom on the Mac, and it will flip over to console, or you just look for the console, which is in the bottom section of the screen next to project. All right, let me talk you through the console just a little bit. So what do we have here? We have an ability to clear lines off the console. The console, by the way, is just going to be full of lines of text, and our entire game is going to be running in this console just for this project. And the purpose is we don't want you to be confused by all this other complexity of Unity. Of course, if you're already highly experienced with Unity, you can completely skip this section and just move straight on to the next one. But for a beginner, I really strongly suggest you start here because we're also covering programming basics, a lot of really, really important programming fundamentals in this section. So, back to the console. You can clear it, you can collapse it, we'll talk about that later. So all of these bits, don't worry about. The bits you do need to be a little bit aware of, especially before we move the console, is these top right 3 buttons. This one turns on and off logs to the console, which we'll be making. This one turns on and off errors, warnings rather, the middle one, warning triangles. And then the final one, the stop sign, is for errors you turn on and off. They're turned on when they're depressed in and slightly lighter. Okay, so a bit of a gotcha in case you've accidentally clicked that off, be careful. All right, that's that. So what I want you to do is to move the console. We'll be looking at moving windows around in a more advanced way later, but I want you to move the console over to the right-hand side like this. All right, so just grab hold of it and drag it to the right-hand side. What that's going to mean is we can then put monodevelop right over the rest of all this stuff so that we're just dealing with the console and monodevelop itself. You can grab the divider between the scene or the game and the console on the right here just and drag if you want, and you can adjust things, but you just need a bit of console on the right-hand side. Okay, now before we leave the Unity editor, I just want to delete the main camera in the hierarchy. So look for the hierarchy on the left, main camera, and either go to edit and delete or right click and delete because we just don't need it for this project. Okay, next we're going to create an empty game object because in order for our script to run, it needs to be attached to a game object. So we're going to go to game object, create empty from the game object menu, and I want to rename this game object number wizard. Capital N, capital W, and you can leave no space if you wish, that's fine. This is called Pascal case. It means all the kind of components of the word have uppercase, so number wizard like that. All right, so that's an empty game object. How are you going to add a script to it? A couple of different ways. You could go to Inspector, Add Component, New Script. Let's do it that way. And then type number wizard, the same component name as the game object name in this case, which will normally be the case, but you can add multiple scripts or components to the same game object. So now we have a number wizard script. It's sitting in the base of assets. Let's be tidy from the start and put it in a folder called scripts because that's how we're going to go on. So I've made a folder by right-clicking down in assets, going to create and then folder, called it scripts, and then drag number wizard into it. Fantastic. All right, this other thing here, main, it's the scene or the level used interchangeably. It's also at the top of your screen up here, main. We need some sort of scene or level. We need at least one level for the game to run, so that needs to be there. That's just fine. All right, so we've created our number wizard script. Let's go into it. Now just quickly rearrange your mono develop. Move it to the left-hand side of your screen so that you can see ideally both mono. If any funny toolboxes come up in mono, just close them. So you can see both mono and the console. So click on your console in Unity, Command or Alt tab, maybe back to mono develop, and just jiggle between them until you can see as much console as possible. You might have a much bigger screen resolution than me. I'm actually on a really big monitor here, but I've got the screen resolution really low for you guys so you can see all the text really clearly. So this is the situation we want to end up with, just with the console visible on the right and the code visible on the left. Fantastic, we're going to write our first bit of code right now. Let's do it. So we're going to go inside the start function. For now, we're only going to focus on what's going inside the start function. We're using that because we know it's going to run. It runs at the very beginning when the game first runs. Don't worry about any of the rest of the stuff out here. We're going to keep our context where the cursor is for now. Later on, we will zoom out and zoom out and zoom out until you understand absolutely everything that is on this screen. But for now, let's focus here. Cool. So we're going to use a statement called print. Old as the houses. Print, welcome to Number Wizard. Let me just do that. And you can do the same. Print, welcome to Number Wizard. Now, look at there's some syntax. There's some language here, and the computer's super fussy about how we type this. So this is a string inside print. It's a string because it's in quotes. Okay, that'll come clearer in a moment. And then the brackets indicate that print requires some parameters. It requires some input. So print is a function or a method that requires something inside its brackets. And what that requires is a string. And then on the end of every single line in C#, we need a semicolon. Without a semicolon, it doesn't know the line has ended. It just ignores white space. All right, let's stop chatting and get on with seeing what this does. Now, it's not saved yet. You know it's not saved for two reasons. One, the circle up here is a circle. When I save, watch what happens to the circle. It turns to a cross. Now you would be closing the tab. Previously it was telling you could close me, but I'm not saved yet. All right, the other way you can tell is if I make another change, you get a star on the end of the file name there. All right, there being at the very top of the screen next to where it says numberwizard.cs. All right, great. So make sure your script is saved. Go back to Unity and run it. Now, what you should be seeing over here is welcome to NumberWizard and then a load of other bump. Under every line you're going to get bump, which is telling you where this log has come from. It's come from Unity Engine monobehavior. Again, if you can still see it on your screen, make sure this little bubble is turned on, the bubble that enables logs. If you don't, you won't see anything. All right. If you have a 1 but you can't see anything, it's because that's turned off. Okay, so that is that. We have printed welcome to NumberWizard. Fantastic. Okay, so I've got a challenge for you now, which is I want you to print another line without my help. And this is your first mini challenge. During a mini challenge, I'm going to tell you what result I want, and then I want you to do it, pause the video so that you can make your own mistakes, do your own learning, and then unpause the video when it's time to check your answer against what I've done. So here we go. I want you to just put another print statement immediately underneath that says, pick a number in your head, but don't tell me. All right, simple as that. Really easy challenge for the first video. Go for it. Pause the video now. Okay, welcome back. So this is how I did it. I just going print, pick a number in your head, but don't tell me. Okay, and then close the bracket and a semicolon on the end of every line. Congratulations, super simple video, but you're into scripting. Make sure it works by saving, going to Unity and running. Now, if it was already running, you're going to need to stop it running and click play again. There you go. Now you get your 2 logs. Welcome to NumberWizard. Pick a number, but don't tell me. Fantastic. Well done. See you in the next video.